Hello, everyone. I see people connecting in the hour to start. Other people will come and join us. Welcome, everyone, from wherever you are. We are very happy to be with you and with Lina today. I am Franz. I am part of the OML app team and of Nelis. Lina is here for sure. She will present herself after. Hello, Lina. Just some few words before we start. I will share right now my, just a second, exactly, my screen. As you can see, that's the title of today, Collaboration Roadmap, Insight and Strategies for Amplifying the Impact of Our Initiative. So this one is really for us because we are all having initiative around social or sustainability challenges, and Lina will help us to define some very important roadmap. As you can see also, this webinar is provided by the new 1 Million Leader app of Nelis. So let's give a few words about this amazing new launch and product of Nelis. Just a second. 1 Million Leaders app, as you can see, nice design. What it is about, it's an app which is very new, not only for Nelis, but in the world, because it's a people-to-people app for people interested in sustainability and also in social things, in helping each other without the help of big organizations. Just through the app, we can help each other and empower each other. That's the first thing that the app does. As you can see, it's like Nelis, a growing global movement of people like us, next generation sustainability leader. We are really waiting to have 1 million by 2030. We are mainly focused in Latin America, Africa, MENA, and Asia, and we are very proud for that. So what else we do through the app? By joining the app, by being a user, by giving only $1 a month, let's say almost the price of a coffee here in Greece, where I am, you can also witness, meaning, okay, you can follow, you can be inspired by what is happening in the world, in these thematics, what those people are doing, like Lina today, but not only. We have a lot of people inspiring, and that can be also inspiring for what we are doing ourselves, like to replicate whatever, for example, etc. This is more than 50 countries worldwide. We have a lot of fellows profiles, a lot of initiative profiles, so you can really go there and enjoy what we are providing around that. Finally, sorry, not finally, that's the third point we can learn by being a user of this app that you can download. You also have access to very interesting trainings around very different thematics, flash trainings, no more than 15 minutes, but very focused on sustainability and social aspects, still trainings that can help, we believe, people like you, me, and everyone here to get to the second stage of what we are doing and to be inspired again and to get very interesting knowledge. And the last part, to be honest, it's about today, it's about belonging, because by being part of this, let's say, community of users of the OML app, we belong to a community. We feel that, and the main things around community, the main aspect of community is to have common events. And the events of today, the webinar with Lina, is part of that. We organize monthly events, generally. That's the first ones those days, and after we will have even more. And in those events, we can all gather, listen what some people like Lina today have to tell us, also start chatting and continuing the conversation through the app. That's, sorry, just a few words about this app. We are very proud of this app. Again, for $1 a month, you can enjoy this app. You can empower people around you, because you do that, and the money, let's say, also helps the initiative of those people. And that's it for the app. Here you can see that's, let's say, the website. You can note, we will also put it, I think, in the chat. Anyway, that was for the app. Right now, people, Real, Lina from Colombia, maybe you can tell us a bit more words about you before we start to get you know better. Hola, Lina. Hello, Lina.
Hola, friends. Thank you for having me here. It's such an honor to be part of everything that you're doing with the OML app, and also it's beautiful. The design is beautiful, so I'm looking forward to having this conversation there, and I'm really excited to talk to you about collaboration today. About me, what can I tell you? I'm a Colombian. I live in Colombia. I've been living here my whole life. And I've been working the last almost 10 years in a collaboration process through an organization that is called Social Lab. We are an social innovation consultancy firm, and what we do the most is that we launch open innovation challenges where we connect big organizations that have challenges that have to do with social or environmental impact with people that have solutions. And in that path, I've been learning a lot about collaboration. And that's one of the main things that I do. I'm also a mom. I was just telling you and Peter before that I have a little 2-year-old, and he's been teaching me a lot for the last a couple of years. And also I want to share with everybody here that recently I moved out of the city, and I've been learning these new ways of life in the countryside in Colombia on the mountains. That's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Lina. Okay, good. That's a move that a lot of people are thinking to do also in Europe, but also a lot of people are promoting around at least this move to do it, for example, in Africa, I remember. So thank you for that. I have some very introductive questions for you, Lina. I will share again my screen to show to everyone those questions. Just a second. That's my first one, as you can see, because, okay, we talk about collaboration, but this can mean a lot of, it can mean, it can mean a lot of different things, collaboration. So just can you give us to start more details about what you mean yourself by collaboration? Thank you.
Totally. So I have some ideas, but this is just out of my experience. It doesn't mean that is like the last word about collaboration. First, what I understand about this is that it's a decision, and that each party, each one involved, has to make it freely and voluntarily. Yeah, you cannot be forced into a collaboration. I also feel that is some sort of a meeting point in the path that each one had before this collaboration happened. And because it's a midpoint in your path, it requires work. It's not something that happens out of the blue. In my point of view, it's temporarily. You don't collaborate forever. If you are collaborating forever, maybe that relationship evolves into something else. But it has like a beginning and an end. And it's a process, and as a process, it requires changes. And over time, you can see that it becomes something different, as I mentioned before. Now, so if it becomes really something that is really long term, maybe it's not a collaboration anymore. It's a company or a marriage or something else. But I feel like collaboration is the beginning or of something else. And it's really important for us to understand that it requires work, that you need to come every day into this whatever thing that you are doing and give energy to it, because it's out of your ordinary responsibilities and the ordinary work that you usually are doing. And if I will have to materialize the collaboration, I would see it as a veil, as a piece of fabric that is falling on top of the people that are collaborating. And in that way, it's flexible. Like this fabric receives the form of the people that are underneath. It allows you to move, but it sets a limit. You are not moving outside of the fabric. And also it provides some sort of a filter, like you are seeing reality through that piece of fabric, and you see it differently. So it's really flexible, but it also set up a specific place, a specific frontier inside this frontier you are moving inside of it, you know? That would be my description of collaboration.
Thank you. A lot of interesting things. I hope we are taking notes, everyone, because really we talk a lot about collaboration today. But at the end of the day, to be able to give a description and definition of collaboration is never easy. So thank you, Lina, for this. I have another question, a bit looking alike. I think you started to mention it, but another key notion today, and also in our work, everyone having initiative, being sustainability enthusiasts, willing to share what we want to do and what we have to do, is the one of conversation, you know. For, let's say, what is, in your opinion, an efficient process of conversation, for the conversation to lead somewhere and not just speak for speaking?
So I will say, like, during the conversation, you will feel it's efficient when everybody gets the opportunity to make their point, to at least talk. Yeah, or to say, like, I don't want to talk, I'm just here to listen. But everyone involved should be able to in some way participate. And after the conversation is done, I will say it was efficient if the team or the people involved were able to agree on something. It doesn't have to, I mean, come out with a decision. It doesn't have to be that everyone agrees on it, like everyone feels that's the absolute way of doing things. But if everyone was able to participate in the way that that decision was made, I will say that was an efficient conversation. Also, we need to understand what is the best way to have this conversation, because it depends on the type of collaboration that we're having. Like, for example, if you need to collaborate with your neighbor because you need to fix a wall that you share, probably this is going to be a really informal type of collaboration, you know, maybe a couple of phone calls, just a elevator conversation and WhatsApp, maybe a message for something. But if your company is collaborating with another company, or your government is collaborating with another government, I'm pretty sure that the conversations and the tools that they are using are going to be really strict and formal. So you are going to have records and reports and, I don't know, supports of expenses and this type of things that becomes more formal. So for the conversation to be efficient, you also have to define the type of language and the type of tools that you are going to be using for the specific result that you are looking for. So I will say those three things. Everyone should be allowed to say something at some point, should be agreeing on the way that you decide to make the decision, and you should be having the specific languages and tools for the type of collaboration that you are having.
Thank you, Lina. I like a lot your example of fixing the wall and how to converse with your neighbor, because now we have to fix the planet more or less, and everyone is involved in it. And then you say that everyone needs to speak the same language that we don't, so we need to find ways to understand the same problems with our different contexts. So I think it's very relevant. Thank you, Lina. I have a last introduction question, and then you can also share your own slide. It's this one. You have created, that's why you are here, a very interesting timeline, what you call a collaboration roadmap. And this collaboration roadmap, everyone here can apply it in our activities. So can you tell us, first of all, a bit more about it? And can we today, why not, develop this timeline together, or more or less together, so the participants who are here and the one who will listen this webinar later can start applying it in their own context? Is it possible? Can we start doing that?
Totally. I just want to give you like some topics that you are going to be using in your collaboration. I I'm going to present them as a timeline, but that doesn't mean that that's the specific way that you have to do it. Maybe in your case, you feel that it should be in a different way and you can adapt this process. But what I feel is more important of this that I'm going to share with you is that it gives you the most like specific topics that you need to involve in your collaboration. So when you are like making it your own, you can change it. And if you feel that something is not working, you can add some questions or do it in your own way. So let me share my screen and we can start to talk about this pathway to powerful collaborations. So just give me a second, because now you can see the whole thing, but I just want you to see the presentation. Yeah, present. Okay, now you can see my full screen, right? Good. So something really important about collaboration, and we already mentioned it, Franz, is that before we start collaborating, we need to talk. Sometimes we just jump into it and we haven't even met the person that we are going to collaborate with. So this is what I want to share with you as the first recommendation for that conversation to happen is we need to talk to get to know each other and also to define ground rules. And ask questions like, why are you here? Like personally, or if this has to do with work, like what is your goal in your work with this? What are your fears and what are the risks of you coming into this collaboration? Is this a priority for you? And I feel this question is really important because sometimes for me, this project is everything. Like in the case of the neighbor, like I need to fix this wall because my house is falling apart. But on the side of my neighbor is not that bad. So maybe he's not going to be looking forward to fix the wall this week or this day. I need to understand if the other person is making it a priority and also how much time they are willing to use in the collaboration. And how will this relationship work? If we are friends, if we are colleagues, if we know each other or not before coming into this collaboration, we need to set up some sort of rules of how our team is going to work. Who is going to make the last call when we need to make a decision really quick and the team is not getting together or aligning? Who is going to say that we need more time or less time to do something specific? Who is going to make calls about, I don't know, the budget if we have some? So all of these things we need to answer as a team that is going to start to collaborate. And we can only define this through a conversation. And at the end is going to come up with something that is way better, is that we are going to be able to get to know each other. That's what you're looking for when you are collaborating with someone. You need to know that person or that group of people if there's more than. So this is pretty much the timeline that I want to share with you. And I'm going to go through each one of the steps and ask some questions for you that if you are with your teammate or your future teammate here, you can answer them. But also, you can just write down some ideas if you have while I'm speaking to you. And feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have questions about what I'm going to say. So I just want to make sure that I'm seeing the chat here. Okay, so first, let's start with a general idea of what we want to do. We don't have to have the details yet, but we need to at least write down somewhere what we want to do. And you will feel like this is like pretty obvious, but I have helped people collaborate when they don't have an idea what they want to do. They just come into the table and say, we want to do something together, so let's start working on it. But if we haven't agreed on what we want to do, it's going to become really hard afterwards. So this will be the first step. Just write down what, like a general idea, as I mentioned. It doesn't have to have a lot of details because we will go into the details afterwards. So once you have that general idea, you can move forward to the resources. So we know we have a team, or at least 2 people that are going to be collaborating, and also we have an idea. So on that, what do we need to make this idea come to life? Yeah, we need to turn it like something that is written on a paper to the world, and we need resources for that. So just make a list of everything that you feel that you are going to be using for that. And thinking about that list, you can also think, what do you already have in your team? Like, what does each one of the people that are sitting here brings to the table? Because someone already, maybe they have the computer, and the other one has the knowledge, and the other one has a little bit of money because we need to buy something else. I don't know, some materials or something like that. Someone may have the context or the network that we need for this to become a reality. You know, they know someone that knows someone, so that is also really useful in this process. Another question that you should be asking right now is, what is there in the world today that we can use? And what I mean by this is there a solution that is already out there that we can use as inspiration? Or maybe it is some sort of open knowledge, you know, like a Creative Commons license, of these type of things that we can use. Do we know someone that has already gone through this process and they can share with us their experience or their result? We don't need to build everything from the ground every time. So it's really good to go and make a research and to identify what are these type of things that we can use. Maybe we can build on top of the things that are already out there. And what are we missing? Sorry, I wrote that really funny, but what are we missing still? Like, we need something that we don't know how to get. For example, we need a specific type of, I don't know, plant, a seed that we are going to be using in our project, and we don't have it. How we can find that? How we can find someone that knows where to find it? We need to know the things that we don't have it really, that we don't have close to us, but we know that at some point we are going to be needing them. If you go to these questions, maybe some new questions will arise during the conversation, but also this will give you a really nice base to start working on. After we go to the resources, we are going to be starting to think about the process. So those resources need to put like in action, you know, by themselves. They are not to become the solution or the result of the collaboration that you want to. So let's ask questions about time. Do we have a deadline? Is this important too? Like the collaboration needs to be done but some point, or we are going to be working till the time that we want to? And if we have a deadline, what is it? So let's start building a timeline according to that deadline. And what activities do we need to do specifically to turn that idea into a reality? Let's set up a specific timetable with the name of these activities and where and when are they going to take place. How long does each one of them take, and do you need to do something before the other thing? So let's make something really organized and to understand where is the specific time that you need for each one of them. If it depends on, I don't know, the weather, and you want to do something when it's raining or when it's night, so you need to write that down and to understand when things are going to be done. and who is the person that is going to be responsible for each one of the activities before we talk about how the team was going to work. But now we need to understand if, like, besides these roles that we give to the team, like each one, according to the resources that they are bringing to the table, they are able to be responsible for one of the activities. And someone is going to go on the ground for some things, someone is going to be doing some research, interviews, whatever you feel like. So at the end of this, you're going to have this really beautiful spreadsheet with all the timeline, with the activities that's responsible. And you can also make like cross the information between the resources and the activities and understand which of the resources are going to be used for each one of the activities that you have defined as a team. Just let me know, Franz, if there are questions on the chat, because I see there are new messages, but I don't know there.
We are having conversation, not exactly a question, Selina, but if you want, I just have one. Once everyone has a different role, let's say, we are all relying on each other, because if someone doesn't commit, the other are waiting this commitment. So do you have a tip for all of us who are, for, let's say, trying to build some teams, a tip that makes everyone looking in the same direction at the same moment and delivering the same time? Do you have some tips very concrete on that?
I do, and I have a slide for that, so I'm going to be sharing them at the end. That's a great question, but that's something really important about the collaboration. Like, if the team is not aligned, we are not going to make this happen. So about the result, we start with a rough idea, you know, like the general idea of the thing that we wanted to do. But it is better if we have a specific goal set up. And something that I really like about like setting up a goal, there's a way of writing down like objectives that is called SMART. And I'm not going to go to the detail right now, but I really recommend to you, if you look up in the in Google, like SMART goals and how to set them, because that's a way to set up something that you are going to be able to achieve in a specific time frame with specific KPIs. And in that way, you are going to be able to know if you are going or not through the right path, you know. So just write down the specific goal of what you're looking for. And sometimes the goal is not the same thing as the idea. Because, for example, I want to fix the wall, but my goal is to have a better place to live, you know, so it's not the same. The idea maybe is something that you are just coming up with, like the first impression, but the goal is something that is broad and is easier to follow up and to define if it's well done or not. How will we know that we have achieved the goal? Sometimes it's not easy if we just have something that is not specific. You know, I want to make the world a better place. How will I know that the world is a better place? You know, or as you mentioned before, like we need to save the world, or we need to, this type of like, we need to live in peace. How do we know that we are there yet? We need to set like a line and understand that we are there or not, or we need to continue to work towards that goal that we have defined. And how will we know that we have done it right? Also, it's really important in the way that we write down the goal, because sometimes making the world a better place is good for someone, but not for the other one. So we need to define how we are going to be measuring the way that we do things. And how far are we going to get? As I mentioned before, I was asking about the timeline, for example. And sometimes this type of collaboration, this type of projects, maybe they exceed what we were looking for. to provide, you know, like I cannot be involved in this forever because I have other things to do in my life, but also I don't have the resources to put in the project forever. So we need to understand how far it's going to be good for us as a team that is collaborating, and see maybe, okay, we go to this point and then we will find someone else to come into the team, or maybe we will find, I don't know, another organization that would like to receive what we have done so far, and we can pass like the torch. I don't know, you say that in English, when in Spanish or something like that. So someone else can continue with it, and we don't have to be in charge of everything forever. And I feel like this is connected to the last question, is really important. Like, when do we stop? Because we feel that we already achieved the goal, or because we don't have any more resources, or because we are just tired, or because we want to move forward to something else. So all of these questions are really important for us to have clear as a team, to make decisions as a team, and to understand if everyone is in line with it. But also, some things can come up during that conversation. Maybe we are going to be collaborating for a period of time, and then one of the people in the team will continue to give a new life to that project, and we don't need to move forward as the whole team. Maybe just some of us will be moving forward with it. So far we have gone to the idea, the resources, the process, and the result. In this moment, you can more or less see into the future and understand what the collaboration is going to be looking like. This doesn't mean that it's like, here I'm just, what I'm showing to you is just I'm standing in the present and looking through the future. The most important thing that is missing right now is the action. You need to go ahead and work with the things that you have decided you want to do. But this part that I'm coming, this question that I'm bringing you now, what are we missing? I feel like it's really important to ask this question every time we go into a project, even if it's a collaboration or not. But before we go into the actual work, we need to ask this question, because sometimes we forget things. And since we are in a different place right now that we were at the beginning of the conversation. That was loud for you? There was something coming through my street, sorry. So we are different people right now. We start before, maybe we didn't know each other very well, and we went through that conversation. We set up the rules. We had an idea. We thought about the resources, the process, and the result, and maybe that idea has changed a little bit. So we need, with this new way of understanding our project, we need to ask the question, is there anything that we haven't thought about? What are we missing? We need to call someone else in the team. We need to find another resource. We need to redefine our goal. Do we have everything that we need to make this come through? And is there something that maybe is going to arise, to come up out of the blue during the process, that we can prepare a little bit for it? So this question would allow us maybe to close this process and to feel that we are going into the real world really, really prepared for what we are looking for. And as I mentioned to you before, so I feel the collaboration is give us a veil to look through it, to look reality through it, you know? So maybe what I give you before, like all these questions and recommendations, are something that you can use in a project that is not only collaboration based, but is any type of project that you are going to be having, I don't know, in your team, you know, in your regular work. But what's the difference that this veil give us? But it's something that, and answering the question that you asked me before, Franz, this is what really is specific about the way that we do things when we are collaborating or not. So how do we work as a team? As a team that is not imposed, you know, it's not your boss telling you you need to do this and you need to work with this person because of your colleague. So how are we going to divide the load of the work? How are we going to make decisions? Who is going to be, I don't know, calling for the meetings? Who is going to talking to someone outside of our collaboration team if we need something else? So we need to define this type of roles that are like besides the actual like operation, like who is going to be doing what? How are we going to have like this balance of power inside of the team? And especially if we know people before, especially if we are friends or we are colleagues, we need to talk about this, because it's not the same to plan a trip with your best friend that to have a project when you are going to be collaborating with your friend. And if it's someone that you know really close and you haven't worked with them before, maybe you are going to have new challenges trying to go this bad. So this is really important to define it. What are going to be our communication channels? Are we going to use something besides what we usually use with this person? We are going to have, I don't know, Slack channel for this, or some sort of platform that allows to talk really easy while we are carrying the project. And really close to that question is, what are going to be our collaborative work tools? Are we going to have, I don't know, a Google Drive where we put up things? Are we going to have a wall with a lot of papers in the, I don't know, first floor of the building? You know, where are going to be, like, where is the record and the decisions and the pictures and everything that we do for the project is going to be left out for us to follow it, to see it every time we meet? How do we keep track of each other? Are we going to have meetings? Are we going to have a dashboard? How can we keep track, and also how we can see that the other person is doing what they were supposed to do? And in that way, we can keep a same relationship and follow up on the responsibilities. How are we going to measure? We are going to have some sort of KPIs, and when are we going to be measuring them? Where are we going to get the information for that? We need to talk about it. And this last one, I feel that is really important, is how do we set an alarm if something is not working? Who can we talk inside of the team? If I realize that the relationship is not going as I wanted to go, can I talk to someone else to intervene and help me, I don't know, set up the mood and fix things as they were before? Yeah, Franz, ask me.
Hannah is asking you to repeat on the collaborative tools, if you may, on the chat.
Can you say that again? I didn't understand it.
It's on the chat what you said about the tools around collaboration.
Let me go on the chat, because I cannot see it, you know. Maybe it's because I'm sharing my screen. Let me stop sharing my screen for a moment.
No, it's just if you could repeat the collaborative tools, yeah.
The collaborative tools, okay. So they are just, we need to find a place to have all the information that we have been developing or finding through the project. So, for example, one that is really good for us is Google Drive, because most of the people can use it, and it's really intuitive. But there are also like analog places that you can have the information of your project. But that depends if you are collaborating with people in your building, in your neighborhood, in your city, or people around the world. So you need to take into account like what is going to be working for them. So I just mentioned like 2, Google Drive and a wall, but it depends on what you are, who the people that you are working with, where they are. So that was the timeline. I don't know if I can share again for everyone to have it in mind. And remember this veil that I was represented with this blue square on top of it, that we have a limit when we are collaborating, but it can be really flexible. And also it changes the way that we are seeing the world, because we are not seeing it like, I'm not seeing it anymore like Lina by myself, but I am seeing it now with the lens that I'm coming with other people to this conversation, to this part of the world, to this project. And we want to find what is best for everyone underneath that veil and not only for me.
Thank you, Lina. Thank you. Very interesting, because it's a very difficult approach today. Everyone has big objectives, but we don't know exactly how to reach them. Today, everyone has its own truth. And we just speak, we see in the social media, everyone gives its own truth, and there is no collaboration at all. It's just me saying something, you saying something, and that's the end. So I think it's very useful what you present to us, not only for a sustainability initiative, but also for relationship among people, to be honest. So thank you for that. To start a bit the conversation with the in the chat with the people here, I have two questions for you based on your country, Colombia, and on what you presented to us. The first one is this one that you can see right now. Just a second. Because yes, you are from Colombia. It's a country which is beautiful, but which has a lot of challenges as well, as we know. And there, to be honest, I think that collaboration is key for survival. In fact, the collaboration among people, you know, because sometimes the state is not helping, etc. So we need collaboration. And do you have in mind there a very concrete example of local communities that collaborate in a very specific way? You know, you mentioned Google Drive or walls. Yes, but maybe there are people who are really collaborating in very different way, and that could be inspiring for us when we are doing field on the ground initiative. If you have one example.
Yes, that's a really good question. I have an example, and it's nice to think about collaboration outside of work, because usually that's the type of collaboration that comes into our minds, that what can I do from what I know in my work with someone else that is also working. But something that is a tradition in a lot of indigenous communities in Colombia, it's called aminga or aminca. It depends on who you're talking to. And this is a word that comes from the Quechua language, and it means to get together to do something. Like, to get together, you need to bring something and to take something. And it was usually the way that people gather to harvest the corn. You need a lot of people for that. Like, the whole community will get together for that. It was the most important product for them. But this way of doing things has transformed during time. And now the Minga, it means to get together for a lot of things. So at some point will be to help someone with something specific, for example, to build a house for a new family, or to fix a house for a family, or to make a huge celebration that involves food, and they were going to get together, for example, for a lunch. So everyone will bring something and they will make lunch for everybody there. But I feel that there's something really interesting about this, because it's outside of the network. It's completely like analog way of doing things. And the Minga has become in Colombia a group of people that is recognized for doing things. So for example, they protect the national reserves and national parks in Colombia. They also had led, when we have like the last couple of years, we have had a lot of strikes in the country, and they go to those places to represent the interest of the indigenous communities. So they are not only it was used to be a gathering, but now it's like a group of people that move around representing the interest of these communities in the country. And they have like some political status right now. Is become something really important outside of the community, the way that they go and talk to the government and talk to other people that are not part of the indigenous communities. So I feel this is a great example of how collaboration transforms, as I mentioned before, it's a process. So it transforms through time, and it becomes the tool that you need for each time of for each scenario that you are in.
Nice. You call it Minga, right?
Minga, yes.
Okay, and because Peter David tells us that it also exists more or less in Japan, and it's called Yui. I don't know if I present it well. And to be honest, when I hear this connection between, how can I say, collaboration and traditions, there is a high probability that the societies, the human societies which have been sustainable until now, are the one which had sustainable way of collaborating. Because if you don't have, as humans, we cannot do anything, and that's why it's a really a matter of sustainability. I have a last question for you, Lina, the surprise question. Maybe I don't remember. I will just share my screen one last time. And after everyone who has questions or even comment, you can also go ahead. Just a second, how I can go? Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, because Colombia also, you have tension since decades in your country, at least from a European perspective, we see it like that, you will tell me, between the FARC and the army. And what we see since 30 years there is that sometimes the relationships are okay, sometimes less okay, and there is always kind of a dialogue between both parties, you know, the dialogue is cut, but still it's coming back, etc. And when I hear you speaking about it, I say maybe we could learn a lot there on this example on how look a successful or unsuccessful dialogue among people, you know, based on this very difficult, let's say, example. We are talking about local initiatives, but still I'm sure that you can take out something interesting out of it.
A lot of things came out from this process. But a couple of things that I want to point out. First is that you can collaborate with someone that is considered your enemy. You don't have to only work with people that are on your side of life, you know, like we totally agree in everything. So now let's collaborate. That was one of the biggest challenges of this process, because we have two groups that were on the opposite of the way that they consider things should be done and the way that they look life, you know. So I feel that's one of the greatest outcomes, that you can sit in front of someone that is your enemy and you can identify things that you have in common. And as I mentioned before, like when we were starting, like the successful conversation, it doesn't have to be one where everyone agrees on the decision, but everyone agrees on how you get to that decision. And I feel that's how this happened, because the country, like after even a couple of years after the result, we don't agree on everything that is written down on this agreement. But I feel that a lot of people, like a lot of the voices of the country, were heard during the process. So in that sense, I will consider it a success. And something else from this process is that you don't have to become the other person to collaborate with. You can still have your values, your point of views, and come to a conversation and identify. I mentioned that this was like a crossing point of two paths. So I don't need to leave aside my whole self to collaborate with someone else. And I feel like this is the result, and this is something that happened in the peace treaty in Colombia. Like nobody left their way of being outside. They kept what they were before, but now they are willing to conversate, to talk, and to find like some midpoints in some things, not in everything, but in some points, and come up with a huge result. And it's something really, really hard to do, like collaborate. Sometimes we use it as the easy way of going out of something, you know, let's just do it together, let's just collaborate. But when we are collaborating, we need to have maybe more rules that if just was some person like taking all the shots. Because when I'm making all the decisions, like I don't care if there are rules or not, I will do it my way, and that's it. But when we are collaborating, we need to set a lot of rules to understand that everyone is being part of it. So I think those are my takeouts of the process in Colombia.
Nice, Lina. If they can do it there, them after so many years of war, I think everyone can do it. So it's a big hope, let's say. On the chat, Peter David was mentioning that there is no creation without dialogue. And I fully agree with that. That's why I'm very afraid of the world of today, in which there is less and less dialogue among people. You know, when you connect to Google today, you have advertisement, articles that come from what you already think. So yeah, there is not even a dialogue with other opinions, views, etc. That's why also at Nelis we really want to show the diversity of the points of view around sustainability, etc. And that's why again today was very interesting. I think you have also other comments from Anna in the chat. So maybe you can go ahead on that.
Okay. In a movement, another from collaboration. It's a movement, another from like agreeing to fight, go your rights and ensure your right and respect. Like, yeah, there are other ways besides collaborating. No, like you can impose your decisions. You can just adapt to what there is around you. You can abandon the cause or whatever is important for you. You can just leave it that way. Or you can collaborate. And I think there's not just one way of doing things, because we are like, except for some countries that are living under a really strict regimes, you are able, it depends on where you live, but you are able to have maybe a mix of this type of things. And maybe in a specific topic, you just decide to adapt and you say like, okay, I will go with the flow and I will do something that someone else has decided for me. And I feel like it depends on each one of the scenarios. What I think is good about collaborating is that it's a challenge for humans. It put us in the most, I feel, extreme scenario, because you want to do something with someone else, but you don't want to lose what you came in with. So in that way, it's really interesting to do things through a collaboration, because it requires to use all the tools that we have as humans. We need to use our language, and it's not easy to make someone else understand what you are going through, what you are feeling. We need to use our intelligence to the max to come out with a solution that is good for everyone. So that's why I'm a really good fan of collaboration, but I also understand that it's not the best choice for every scenario.
Thank you, Lina. Thank you. Very deep. It's very good Saturday. We learned a lot of things on the chat. We learned a lot of things with you. So really, we are really fine. I say to the participants, if you have any more question or comment, it's now, because after we will stop the webinar. So yeah, please go ahead. If you have any comment, questions, it's now.
And I will leave my email here if someone wants to talk to me further about this topic or something else. You can send me a message. You can look me up in LinkedIn, or just let me know if you have some thoughts about collaboration, some ideas that you feel I can be part of.
And I am sure if we have OML fellows, but not only today, 1 million leader fellows from the programs of Nellis, it's very useful today. I hope everyone took notes, and if you did not, go to the app. It will be the webinar again recorded and displayed in the app. So no more comments, I believe, right? Peter David, I think we are fine.
Yes.
Until now.
Thank you. Yes. Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Lina. Very interesting. I loved it. Thank you, Peter David, also for the organization, and thank you all the participants to be here to listen and also to comment. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope also you enjoyed it, Lina.
Yeah, thank you so much, Franz and Peter, for having me in this space, and for everyone listening live, but also to all the people that are going to be listening afterwards. I'm really happy to talk about this topic, because actually I do it all the time, but I haven't taken the time to reflect so much about collaborating. So thank you for asking me to do this.
You are welcome. Okay, so everyone, good weekend, good Saturday. See you soon around Nellis or others, and let's collaborate all together. Let's be the Minga team. Bye bye.